Final Fantasy VII Remake kind of has a misleading name. It's not a remake in the same way that, say, Resident Evil 3 is a remake. That is a faithful recreation, taking a late 90s game and improving it with 2020 graphics. And to be sure, Final Fantasy VII Remake does have a lot of that. It takes the polygonal blocks from the original and turns them into insanely detailed character models. It's actually pretty staggering. But it's more than that, and also less than that. Here's a spoiler-free look at how Remake is different to the original. The biggest difference is to the story. The game you can buy on April 10 is not the full Final Fantasy VII. Just like how Hollywood took the Hobbit book and split it into 3 movies, Square Enix is taking its PS1 classic and turning it into several games. That's what we know. What we don't know is how many installments the tale will be told over, when the next one will come out, or even what platform it'll come out on. But, for what it's worth, Square Enix says they've started working on the second one. But anyway, instead of the full story, Remake has everything in Final Fantasy VII right up until the gang leaves Midgar. But Daniel, I hear you saying, Final Fantasy VII only really begins after you leave Midgar. I hear you, I'm picking up what you're putting down, and to you I say, firstly, I prefer Dan, secondly, it's 2020, it's time to move on. But really, how well this would work was the biggest question going into the game. If it failed, it wouldn't only diminish the epic scale that Final Fantasy VII is known for, it would also mean a boring, protracted story for an entire game. Thankfully, that's not the case.
The sky is falling, and Avalanche is to blame.
But I work for Shinra. I'm the enemy.
I don't care.
Greetings and welcome. Avalanche, I presume.
Remake holds up a microscope to Midgar, Shinra, and Avalanche. For those new to the franchise, Midgar is the city in which your adventure begins in the original. Shinra is the giant company draining Mako, or life force, from the planet and turning it into electricity for profit. And Avalanche is a group of eco-terrorists looking to save the planet by bringing Shinra down, blowing up one reactor at a time. In the original, this was all backdrop to the real story, which is your party trying to track down and stop legendary warrior / killing machine Sephiroth. In Remake, the city of Midgar becomes a world unto itself, and bit players from the original, like Wedge, Jesse, and Biggs, are given more of a spotlight.
Sure I can't tempt you with some more?
Maybe just a couple slices, Mrs. R.
Wedge!
This seeps into the gameplay too, with the existing chapters expanded and completely new ones added. There are also a bunch of new side quests, some of which are cool, and some of which are...
Oh yeah, and they're all cats.
I'm looking for cats.
But ultimately, after spending 40 hours exploring Midgar and taking on the nefarious Shinra, I can say that this feels like the way the story should have been told the whole time. But a narrower scope isn't the only change. You'll also meet completely new characters in Remake, and there are whole new subplots. You're introduced to one almost immediately in the second chapter, when you meet Dementor-like creatures who swirl around Aerith when you first meet her. I don't want to spoil anything in this video, so I'll just say that the story is mostly the same. Mostly. On paper, a lot of the battle system sounds almost identical to the original. Your active time battle bar will fill up as you deal, receive, and guard damage. Once full, you can use it to cast magic, use an item or ability. You'll learn commands through materia, which are magic orbs that slot into your weapons and armor, and eventually, you'll also be able to summon creatures into the battle to help you best powerful foes. But in practice, the battle system is totally different. As you've doubtlessly seen by now, combat here is real-time. It plays similarly to Kingdom Hearts games, no surprise, as Kingdom Hearts and 7 Remake share the same director. Then, once your ATB bar is full, you can slow down battle to bullet speed as you choose an ability, item, or magic spell from a menu. Materia is a little different too. You'll still upgrade materia by killing enemies and earning AP, but not only are there new materia which grant abilities better suited for the faster paced combat, like parry, you can also now upgrade weapons. This allows you to store more materia on each weapon. Speaking of weapons, each new one you get comes with a certain ability, like Ray of Hope for Aerith or Star Shower for Tifa. Use these abilities enough times and the character will learn it and be able to use it no matter what weapon is equipped. This is completely new to Remake. Summons are different too. In the original, you didn't get your first summon until after you leave Midgar. That's obviously not an option here. You'll get summons through red materia. some of which you'll find in the world, but much of which you'll earn by completing VR combat simulations through some nerd named Chadley.
This data will help me to develop new types of materia.
My personal favourite summon is Fat Chocobo, who only made a guest appearance in the original. Look at him, he's so fabulous. The way you cast summons is different too. Originally, you could cast them like a spell whenever you had enough ATB. Here, you'll need to wait to be prompted, and you'll only be able to do so during boss fights. It's a bummer not having access to them at all times, but it does make your summons feel more special. If you're a fan of the original, a lot of this